Kangaroos, beaches and epic adventures. Let's talk about travelling in Australia. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Chris from Stoked for Travel here. Today we're going to talk about one of my favourite countries in the world to explore, Australia. Now, I spent heaps of time living, working and travelling around this amazing country, and today we're going to talk through the best way to spend your time between Sydney and Cairns on the famous East Coast route. We're going to talk about locations, durations, and of course all the best trips and tours to see along the way. Before we kick things off, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any other travel goodness. Let's get started. Now, with over 2,400 kilometers to cover along the coast, we're going to start things in Sydney. Now, this amazing city is full of awesome things to see and do. Obviously, you've got the iconic Opera House, Bondi Beach, some epic coastal walks, the botanical gardens. There's plenty of things to see and do. So for Sydney, I recommend at least 3 nights. You're going to need at least 1 to get over your jet lag from your flight in. And then it gives you a good few solid days to explore the city. And you can also head outside of the city itself and do things like Blue Mountain and Jervis Bay as well. After recovering from your flight and spending a few days exploring Sydney, it's time to head north up the east coast of Australia. Now, for the rest of our itinerary, I've pieced it together using the Greyhound bus pass, which is one of the most popular ways to travel around Australia and also one of the most budget friendly too. So to kick things off, we're going to do an overnight bus journey from Sydney to a town called Yamba, which is about 12 hours north. This sleepy little beachside town is beautiful and still slightly off the beaten track, so you can find empty beaches and beautiful scenery. Now, I'd recommend staying with the crew of Shane and Justin at YHA Yamba. They're absolutely amazing. Make sure you say hi from me. And while you're there, do Shane's famous tour. It's a must. From Yamba, we're going to take a 2-hour bus ride north to my favourite place on the whole of the East Coast, Byron Bay. Now, this barefoot hippie surfer town is absolutely incredible and I know you're going to love it. There's plenty of things to see and do here, from skydiving, dolphin kayaking, to the lighthouse walk, day trips to Nimbin and checking out all the buskers. With all these things to see and do, I recommend at least 3 nights to put in your itinerary so you can make the most of it. Trust me, you're going to want more. Now, after getting your beach fix in Yamba and Byron Bay, it's time to head up the coast to the city vibes again and 2 nights in Brisbane. Now, personally, for me, this is a bit of a tough one. I don't really like cities and Brisbane isn't my favourite place, but I know loads of people love it, so I have included it. You might also want to split one or both of the nights to include Surfers Paradise as well, aka the Gold Coast, and to break up that journey between the two. So yeah, if city vibes are your thing, it's an awesome stop. Now we're heading up into the Sunshine Coast and the beautiful ocean town of Noosa. Now, Noosa is kind of a bit like Byron Bay, same but different. Again, it's all about the surfing and the beaches and the wildlife around here. Make sure you take a stroll up to Noosa National Park, keep your eye out for wild koalas, go for a swim in the fairy pools, and of course you can go canoeing around the Noosa Everglades as well. It's a beautiful spot, so make sure you pencil in at least 2 nights there. Next up, we're heading just a little bit north of Noosa to a spot called Rainbow Beach. Now, I've penciled in 2 nights in Rainbow Beach in this itinerary, mainly because it's the gateway to one of the best tours along the east coast of Australia, Fraser Island. So you'll need 1 night before and 1 night post Fraser Island trip. Fraser Island itself, I highly recommend doing the 2-night trip there. You can do a day trip or 1 night, but the 3-day, 2-night option is where you're going to get the most out of Fraser Island. Now, Fraser Island itself, you get to cruise around on 4x4s, check out Lake Mackenzie, the Maheno shipwreck. You can even see the annual whale migration there. So it's definitely one of the best spots to stop. So yeah, 2 nights Rainbow Beach, 2 nights Fraser Island, done. After an awesome time on Fraser Island and a night at the end to recover at Rainbow Beach, it's time to head north on your next overnight bus journey. This one's a bit longer, it's 18 hours and takes you from Rainbow Beach all the way up to Airlie Beach. Now, you can break up this journey with a night in Agnes Water 1770 if you want, but a lot of people just plough straight on through to get to the next stop. Now, Airlie Beach, I've penciled in 3 nights. This is because it's an amazing little party town, but it's also the gateway to your second of your biggest East Coast tours, the Whitsunday Islands. Now, for the Whitsundays, I'd recommend a 2-night sailing option. It'll take you around all the spectacular beaches like Whitehaven Beach, Hill Inlet, heaps of snorkeling, and just all-round good times while sailing around. Boat-wise, there's heaps of options out there. I really like Tongara, Power Plate and Wings. But check out the link in the description for the best Whitsundays trips so you can choose the best one for you. So yeah, in total, 3 nights in Airlie Beach, 2 nights on the Whitsundays. Of course, if your trip is a bit shorter, you can cut out one of those nights in Airlie Beach as well. Now from Airlie Beach, we're going to head north to Townsville, where we're going to get the ferry across to Magnetic Island. Now Magnetic Island, I reckon you need to spend at least 2 nights on. There's plenty of things to see and do. Beautiful beaches, loads of wild koalas, you can feed the rock wallabies, and of course cruise around in the famous Barbie cars as well. There's a full guide to Magnetic Island in the link in my description below, so go check that out. But yeah, 2 nights across there. Before we finish up your East Coast trip, we're going to spend 2 nights in Mission Beach. Now, as well as the beautiful palm tree fringe beaches here, it's also a great place to get your adrenaline fix. And you can skydive here as well as whitewater rafting. Now, the skydive spot here is famous because you actually get a beach landing and beautiful views across the Great Barrier Reef. So yeah, 2 nights at Mission Beach and then onwards. After an epic adventure up the east coast of Australia, it's time to finish your travels with 3 nights in Cairns. Now, Cairns itself is either the start or finish of most people's travels, so there's plenty of partying going on. But alongside that, it's also the gateway to the Great Barrier Reef. So you'll either want to do a snorkel day trip, intro dive, or even your full paddy dive course while you're there. As well as that, there's also plenty of other things to see and do, including bungee jumping, waterfall tours, or even a day trip up to Cape Tribulation. So yeah, finish off your trip, 3 nights in Cairns. So there you have it, guys. That's how I'd spend a month traveling from Sydney to Cairns along the east coast of Australia. Now please keep in mind that the itinerary is obviously not set in stone and you can customize it to fit your own personal travel preferences. One of the most popular things people will tend to do to this is add in Melbourne at either the start or the beginning of their trip, probably taking out a night in, say, Airlie Beach or even Brisbane to fit that in. Between Melbourne and Sydney, you can do the overnight bus with the Greyhound, or you can even fly internally with Jetstar or Virgin Australia, pretty cheap as well. If you guys are heading up the east coast of Australia and need some help planning your trip, go see the guys at RTW Backpackers. They've got awesome custom package planner, so you can fill in the form and they'll put together your ultimate itinerary. And of course, guys, check out all the links in the description below for my full Australia guides, my written blog post on my East Coast Australia itinerary, best ways to travel, and more. As always, guys, like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you next week. Yoo!